So I'm here in the Taino Souk in Vancouver Island, BC, Canada. And in this video I want to talk to you about cultural appropriation. What is this cultural appropriation thing? It's when somebody who is not from a specific culture is using or promoting or wearing things from that other culture, from a different culture that is not their own. And this is the concept of cultural appropriation. So I wanted to create let's see how this goes. In about 10 years ago, I learned how to make these things that are called dream catchers. Dream catcher is a hoop. You have a hoop, and then you string a string around the hoop, and then you keep stringing it around until it looks like kind of like a spider web in a hoop. And then you hang feathers or trinkets or different things on it. You can create decorations, different stones or beads to it. And the purpose of the dream catcher is to catch the bad dreams or catch the nightmares or catch the evil visions from the village. This is what it was originally intended to. And I learned today that this is originally from the Ojibwe, which is a tribe here in Canada or North America. And this is that contraction, that thing is from the Ojibwe culture. So I went on to offer in one of these public sites on Facebook that I'm doing a workshop to help people create dream catchers, and I was flagged in these groups as cultural appropriation, that I was taking on from another culture that wasn't mine. And people were doing this without even asking what my culture was. So it wasn't until after that I saw one of the comments, somebody asking like, what is your cultural background? And then I was like, yeah, what if I was actually Ojibwe and these people are just like making assumptions that I'm not Ojibwe? I don't even know if I'm Ojibwe. I could as well be Ojibwe in one of my ancestors. I just haven't connected that lineage. So it made me think. I was like, okay, so I have the technology. I've learned the technology of creating that thing, and somebody passed down it to me. Somebody who learned from somebody, and that somebody who learned from somebody else, and I was seeing the lineage of the people that taught me how to make this, and then my own practice of making the dream catcher, and seeing that eventually that person that taught me was taught by somebody who was taught by somebody who was taught by somebody, that eventually it leads back to the source. It leads back to the origin of that culture. And then I was seeing the repercussions, the consequences of having this thing called cultural appropriation. And that is something wrong, that is wrong when you culturally appropriate. And this is especially true for people who are privileged. And I am a Spaniard or an immigrant from a more privileged background. My skin is kind of white. I have a European background. So I am a male, and I'm considered privileged. Okay? So I'm just like in this place of exploring what I started discovering as the two edges of cultural appropriation. Because I have this skill, right, that I learned in my journey traveling and through my own practice to make dream catchers, and I've been making them for over 7 years now. Yeah, almost 10 years that I've been making dream catchers. I made hundreds, if not thousands, of dream catchers in my life. So I connecting this part that the person that taught me was taught by somebody who was taught by somebody, and this all connects back to the lineage where it came from. Like originally this came from culture that was giving enough, that gave. And I saw the limitations of cultural appropriation today. I saw that how it cuts off, and this is the edge of cultural appropriation, and this is the edge that it's cutting ourselves. There is an edge that is protecting a culture, that is protecting the integrity of a culture and protecting the sovereignty of the Ojibwe culture in this case, and it's like, fuck off. Like who am I to teach others to make something that is not even something that I created, something from my culture? And there is that edge of the cultural appropriation, which is, it makes sense, because anybody it's kind of like the patents in the modern cultural world, and there is a way in which patents or rights, the rights of an invention, that where it cuts off the evolution of humanity, and in this case the evolution of cultures, the richness of cultures. And this is the other edge that I want to talk about in this video of cultural appropriation that I was discovering today as I was in this question. Okay, I learned this skill, I have this skill, it was passed down to me by somebody, and actually a few people, probably like 3 or 4 different people who I learned with, and in a way, like, I am close enough to the Ojibwe culture because I have been touched by this technology, which you can say that it has become popular, or it has become a dream catcher. You can see them now everywhere. You can see them in hostels, in restaurants, and on Etsy, being sold by people who are not Ojibwe, and they're being, yeah, so they're pretty much anybody that I mentioned what a dream catcher is, you probably see it. And if you don't know exactly what a dream catcher is, when you see one, you start noticing them, and start noticing them everywhere. So the pain, or the way that it's cutting ourselves, this cultural appropriation, is it's like this like mentality that because I am not Ojibwe, because my blood is not Ojibwe, because my ancestors are not Ojibwe, then I don't have the right. I don't have the right to make dream catchers, or I don't have the right to teach others how to make dream catchers, or I don't have the right to offer my services to help to teach other people to make dream catchers. It like goes into those extents, and in the terms of culture, I am a cultural developer. I am invested into creating regenerative cultures that work with the planet, that work with Gaia, that regenerate not just the planet, the resources of the planet, but also that regenerates the human beings that are part of that culture and the life around us. So I'm invested into creating these kinds of cultures, and I'm also a big promoter or endorser and user of open source. And open source in the world that comes from the world of technology is source code or programs or technology that is open for anybody to use in different ways. So this can be in ways of, like, you can use it only when it's for personal use. You can use it, some of it is licensed that you can use it commercially, some of it say you can do whatever you want with it, and some of it has different parameters. But there is like the concept and the space of open source, and some code, some source code can be open source. So a lot of the things that I do, I make them open source. A lot of the things that I do, I make them open source, which means that they're available for anybody out there who wants to use them. And so there is I was seeing that connection between this cultural appropriation, which I'm seeing now as I'm speaking this, that it is like a patent. Like the Ojibwe has a patent on Dreamcatcher. And then the way that this cuts culture is that now, because of this cultural appropriation, these people in the chat on the group, they said this post gotta be taken down. You cannot offer this because this is cultural appropriation. You need to pay respects to the Ojibwe people, and you cannot offer this. So that, like, I'm okay. So now the consequences of that is that the workshop is not happening, or at least it's not happening in the same way that I was bringing it. There might be a different way that I'll bring it, or something else that will come up from it, but the workshop is not happening. There is 10 to 15 people who we wanted to bring to the workshop who will not be learning this new skill. And it's not just the skill of Dreamcatcher, but the skill of coming together to work with string and natural elements and magic to create something of beauty, something beautiful that they can create at home, something beautiful that they can give to others, which comes again with the stories of how I learned it, who I learned it from, also my children who have been learning to create dream catchers. So this is like, dream catchers are so much part of my culture, the culture that I am cultivating, the culture that I am holding space for, the which is my personal culture, the culture of my being. And when I'm not able to offer it, it's like, okay, that there is an edge there. Like some people are not getting this value that I have gained. Some people are not getting to learn from this thing that I've gained. And that's where the other edge of cultural appropriation is. And there is also this, it's the same as the fucking rights and patents, that when you patent something, then there is people who cannot benefit from that. There is people right now who need it, and who needs this to learn how to make a dream catcher, because learning how to make a dream catcher will change their lives. It will change their lives the way that it changed me. It might be in small ways, in big ways, in indirect ways or direct ways, but there is people right now that are needing this to learn to make a dream catcher, and they want it, they are waiting for it, and they are not receiving it because I'm still in this question and of cultural appropriation. And it's not like I'm saving them, it's not like I'm a savior because they need me and they're gonna die if I don't teach them this. No, it's that like somebody needs the technology in a country to generate electricity from the wind, but somebody's holding the patent, so they cannot do it because there is a patent, and they have to pay to whoever is holding the patent for them to do that, but they don't have the resources. And then in the meantime, the patent is there, but there is no resources. And then who decides this? Who decides who has the patent? Who decided that is the OG way, in this case, that invented the dream catcher? What if it came before that from a different place? Or what if it came from Asia? Or what if another tribe in the other side of the world, they were also making something similar? So it restricts the cultural appropriation and the rights and patents. They restrict collaboration of human beings. They restrict the technology from being used, and I'm speaking about dream catchers as a technology, because they are a technology, and they're not just an art craft. They really have a magic and a technology to them, the way that they work. So there is people right now that could be learning how to use this, and they are not learning. So I'm just in this question that is neither. I'm also like not in this conversation of being right or wrong about cultural appropriation. I am not saying that cultural appropriation is wrong. There is the two edges. There is the edge where it's protecting something, and there is the other edge where it's cutting yourself in the foot, it's shooting yourself in the foot. And this is why I'm making this video, to expand on that possibility, on that. What about the people that need this technology right now and they can't have it because there is a cultural appropriation is wrong? So then for me, this is a journey to discover more, okay, how can I offer this in a way that I am paying respect to the source of where it came from? How can I transform this into a new thing that is my thing, that is the thing that I have been cultivating, the thing that I learned, and create something new from that and offer it from there? How can I really honor the lineage from where this came from where dream catchers came from, and honor it in a way that everybody is a yes, and it's like not everybody's gonna be a yes, but how can I honor it in a way that the people involved, the spirit is a yes, like that is a yes about building this. Who is a yes? The people that invented dream catchers, the people who are receiving the teaching of building a dream catcher, myself, the person who is delivering the teaching of building a dream catcher. And it's not gonna be about pleasing everybody, because that becomes a shed, that becomes also another choke where people are gonna be like, let's talk about like, no, this is how it is and this is how it's gonna be. So if it also creates this, like the cultural appropriation thing also creates in the culture this sense that I cannot be really true, because who the hell right now in nowadays it's from any culture. And what I mean to say with that is, like, even this town where I am right now is called Souk. The groups where I was posting the workshop is called Souk, Souk Social, Souk Embrace, Souk While in Souk. And so they're all using this name Souk, and the name Souk originally came from the original name from this place, which is called Sauk. This is the territory of the Sauk Nation, the Sauk Nation people. And I'm not gonna pretend that I'm an expert at it, the history of this place, and I do recognize so deeply at the ground level that we are not the owners of this place. We are not the first people here. That there has been people who have lived here before, and that there is a pretty horrible history about how all of this came to be. All of these buildings. Just over there is a painting of trees being cut down, and the history of, like, there used to be trees here. There used to be a tribe here there, and the history of how all of these, the roads, the buildings, businesses, the houses, the cars, how it all came to be, and it's all like, this is all cultural fucking appropriation. You're using the name Souk. That is cultural appropriation. You're using the land of the Sauk Nation people. That is cultural appropriation. You're taking over their territory, and yeah, you're acknowledging it. And okay, that's like saying, like, yeah, I'm raping you, or I raped you, and then still using that name or using that culture. And it goes like that into so many different ways. So right now, as the cultural, there is like what I'm seeing in the cultural level is that the cultures, they are being eaten up. There is the mainstream culture, the modern culture is taking out these cultures and picking out things from inside and eating them up, and only leaving the shell of the culture, only leaving the appearance of it, but there is actually nothing. That culture is not alive anymore. And this is what I see in the cultural level. So what's happening right now is that many people are coming here. The people that live here, very few are from here. There is people from here, of course, from a few generations ago, but a lot of the people that come here, they just moved here 4 years ago, 2 years ago, even a few months ago, as this place is developing a lot. And we're all coming from Ireland, Europe, India, South America, or from the other side of Canada, from Ontario, from Alberta, from the middle side of Canada, from the States, and even from China, from Japan. And like what we have here in Canada and in this town too, is a mix of cultures. There is a massive mix of different cultures, and right now the cultural lens is that there is a revolution happening at the cultural level here. So I'm saying this to bring up to the light, how does this idea or judgment, because it's used as a judgment, this concept of cultural appropriation, which is used as a judgment, how does it affect the evolution of this culture? Is it helping this culture to become more diverse and to thrive and to become alive? Or is it repressing the culture, keeping it flat, keeping it dead, keeping it cold, keeping it sterile? Like this word, sterile. It's keeping it sterile, like get the rubber alcohol and clean up that culture, because it cannot have a culture from the other places. And there's like there is these regulations that come in the social conditioning, like cultural appropriation. Oh, I cannot culturally appropriate. I'm bad. Like I must be ignorant. I must be evil if I'm culturally appropriating. And yes, there is something to learn from it. There is definitely something to learn from it, because this is not the first time that this happened to me, and what I've seen out there is not the first time that it happens to me. And what I want to shift the lens is that there is an honoring of the culture where it came from. There is an honoring of diversity. There is an honoring of skill building and passing skills, and skills that have been perfected or mastered, skills that have been even like just built, and the sharing of skills. And what I want is that there is a different way of handling this, that there is not just like cultural appropriation, wrong, and then that stops. That's the end of the conversation. It's like, okay, cultural appropriation. What is your culture of origin? How come you are not mentioning the cultural origin of that thing that you're appropriating? And then even like coaching, like, okay, like this is the things that can determine like if this cultural appropriation is an actual cultural appropriation, or it needs to be evolved into something else, or it needs to be more defined in a way that honors and protects the culture where it came from. And again, like it's like these regulations that are almost decided, like they're almost like in the air. They don't belong to anybody, but there's just like this like cultural appropriation, and it lives there, and some people subscribe to it, some people say, yeah, that's it, I want to protect it, and some people will give their life for it. Some people will kill for somebody that is cultural appropriating, and they will die for protecting that idea. It's on fire. Some people will die for protecting that idea. And yeah, so again, my purpose is not of saying cultural appropriation is wrong or cultural appropriation is right. Is really beyond that. Like, as a cultural edge worker, as a cultural space holder, as somebody who is taking a stand for regenerative cultures to exist in the world, it's really important to look at cultural appropriation and unravel that. Okay, what the hell is that? What is this? How does it work? What's happening? Where did this come from? And start unpacking that to see really what is there. And there is gifts, there is discoveries there for you, and also for the thing that you're bringing into this world, for what you're creating into this world, because there is an unfolding there of the next step. Cultural appropriation is not the end of the conversation. Cultural appropriation is not the end of the road. It's a little package. It's a gift for you to unravel, which I've unraveled it before, and there is definitely stuff there for you, for your growth, for your evolution and learning, and for the evolution of the cultural richness of the culture that you're creating. So I hope this video helps with that, and that it brings a little bit of clarity, and I'm taking a stand for having this conversation, for really like, okay, what is it for you? What can be a way that this term, this wall can be turned into an unraveling, an unwrapping of something to unfold into something else, instead of being a wall of done. So thank you for watching, and I hope you get some value from this video. I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.